In 2019, Minecraft had a big resurgence, which had three major events. One of those events was the beginning of Minecraft Mondays, which was hosted by Keemstar. Minecraft Monday was filled with popular content creators and streamers, which brought the attention of a lot of viewers to start playing Minecraft once again. However, Minecraft Monday ended after less than half of a year, getting hacked and having some controversy between the players and Keemstar. After the end of Minecraft Mondays, Minecraft tournaments became more popular. And one of these tournaments was Minecraft Championships, which will become one of the biggest Minecraft tournaments to this day. Before we start the video, I've separated this video into separate chapters. You can go into the description to look at the different timestamps, and the timeline of the video also has chapters. Enjoy the video. Minecraft Championship, also known as MCC, is a Minecraft tournament created by the Noxcrew, where developers and map makers of various Minecraft maps, and also organized by Smager1995, also known as Scott's Major, who created the teams for every event and invites to other creators to compete in the event. The first MCC event took place on November 17th of 2019, which included 40 content creators and streamers divided into 10 teams, with each team having 4 contestants. MCC would have a total of 28 canon events. I'll explain what canon means in another part. And currently it is on a break, meaning that there are more to come. Between those 28 events there will be 2 seasons, and once the break is over, Season 3 would start off. Like any other tournament, the teams would compete against each other, but in 8 games chosen by the teams by voting to reach the top 2 spots. The 2 teams would then compete in one last game to decide the winners, meaning second place could still win and overcome the first place team. There are a diversity of games that range from PvP to movement to even team games. First off, we'll be starting off with the movement games. Ace Race is a Race 3 custom-made course. It includes using the Elytron Trident mechanism, Minecraft movement and knowledge to take shortcuts and faster routes, boost pads, which diversify from speed boost, vertical and horizontal jump boost, and a mega jump boost. The race includes 3 laps, and first place will get a huge bonus, as well as if you make it to the top 10, you also get a big bonus as well. To get to the other side and whack a fan, which by the name of it you should already know what it is, you must get to the other side and punch a fan to finish the map. It is a simple idea, yet it is not seen among many other tournaments. Hole in the Wall consists of players jumping, walking, or sneaking through hole in the walls. It may be simple, but to mix it up a bit, as time passes, the speed of the wall goes faster, walls get harder, and you can end up with psych walls, which are multiple walls coming your way. And you must find out the last second for when the real wall reveals itself. Parkour tag is similar to your usual game of tag, where you must run away from a person who is tagged. To make it harder, you are enclosed with 2 other teammates with a tagger who must get all 3 runners. The tagger can see you and your teammates at all times, but the runner only has a couple of seconds to see the tagger using an ender pearl. If the runners can survive for 60 seconds, they win. But if the tagger catches them all before 60 seconds, the tagger wins. Parkour Warrior is a long course parkour where you must go through countless levels and make it to the end before the timer hits 0. Recently, it got updated, and now it is mostly completable for everyone to do. To summarize, since this game is pretty long and extensive, there is a main path you can take and finish the course, but you can risk it and go through bonus paths to gain extra points. However, they are more difficult than the main path. By the end, there are 3 difficult paths which you can take: easy, medium, and hard. Finish the course to get a multiplier, which is used to multiply the amount of points in the end. Easy will be the lowest multiplier, medium will be the middle, and then hard will be the highest multiplier. Battle Box is set in a small arena where 2 teams head face to face. The main goal is to fill the wall in the middle, but you can also kill the other teams to gain some extra points. Additionally, you can choose different kits before the battle starts to give your team an advantage. However, the other team also has that same advantage. Meltdown is a new game where you and your team have bows that freeze your opponents. You also have a pickaxe to break coin boxes, as well as a heater to revive your teammates if they are frozen. Your team starts in a starting room and must move towards the middle before the room collapses, while mining coin boxes to get points. Fully freezing a team also eliminates them and earns you coins. Last team alive also gets you bonus coins. Rocket Sleeve Rush, although mostly movement, can also be considered a PvP game, as last player standing is rule for this game. You also gain kills by being the last person to hit the person who falls down. What sets this spleef minigame from others is the use of the elytra, as you must traverse through moving platforms with the use of your elytra. Additionally, you also have an updraft, which gives you a vertical boost upwards. Sky Battle is a Skywars type of game where the last player or team standing wins. You start in your starter island with some materials like iron to make armor or weapons, miscellaneous as well. Stuff like creepers, cobwebs, TNT, among others. You also have a stone sword, infinite blocks of your team's color, and a pickaxe to break those blocks or others. As you get closer to the middle, the better the loot. And finally, there are survival games, which is just, well, survival games. Just like any other tournament, survival games is included in this, and not really much of an explanation since it's probably the most common used minigame in a tournament. Plus, there's also coin drops, which by breaking them, your team gets an additional amount of coins. Big Sales at Buildmart is focused on a fast-paced building game, where you and your team must replicate builds by going out and collecting blocks. There have been two iterations of Buildmart, one where you are in a shopping cart, and the modern one, where you fly with an elytra to locate the blocks you collect. Grid Runners focuses on team cooperation and solving rooms with puzzles. The whole course consists of 8 puzzles, where your team must solve it as fast as possible and make it to the end. After making it to the end, the scores add up by how fast your team's time was in each room, and then your final placement. And finally, there's Sands of Time, which is probably the most complicated game in the roster of games, but to make it a simple explanation, you and your team must go through tunnels and dungeons to collect coins. However, there's also a sand timer, which goes down from 120 seconds to 0 seconds, which by then will lock your whole team up. There are some sand blocks around the dungeons which you can get by putting them on the timer, which increases the timer by 10 seconds. You can escape by going through a portal which banks your coins as well. In these dungeons you will find rooms with challenges, puzzles, parkour, among others. Plus, there are also these vault doors where they can give you a grand amount of coins. It's mostly a risk and reward type of game where you must risk it all to collect as many coins as possible. Those are all the games that are currently in the tournament. There are many maps, different rooms, and different iterations of the games. And some old games have been scrapped or removed, like Bingo, an old version of Ace Race called Foot Race, and an old version of Sky Battle called Sky Blockle. To end it off, there is a finale called Dodgeball, which includes the top 2 teams, where each team has a bow and a total of 2 arrows each round. The whole point is to eliminate the opposing team. The game is a best out of 5 or first to win 3 rounds wins. This pretty much consists of the games, but there are also a bunch of things that MCC has that makes it different from other tournaments. One example consists of remixed games, which takes a different spin on a game. For example, BattleBox had a remake game where instead of 1 control point, there are 2 control points, and you also have to use tridents as your main weapon. Although the games are very important to a tournament, you can't have a tournament without any players. NCC has a diverse set of players, which comes from multiple communities both inside and outside of Minecraft. Take for example Hermitcraft, one of the longest running private multiplayer servers, or SMPs, which feature a bunch of creators. These are some of the most recent players in MCC. However, there are other hermits who have played in previous MCCs. Not only are there Minecraft players, but there are also people who don't mainly focus on Minecraft. For example, Offline TV is a group of content creators who mostly do IRL content together and also stream a variety of games, but have participated in a couple of tournaments. However, these content creators play mostly in non-canon, which reminds me on the next segue the difference between a canon and non-canon MCC. To differentiate between both of them, it's pretty simple. The canon event keeps stats from that MCC, where people outside of MCC can use them, while non-canon doesn't. A canon event regularly has a number, like MCC1, MCC2, and so on. Meanwhile, a non-canon event uses words for special events. One of these non-canon events are called the Pride events. The Pride events are always in June because it's Pride month that time. And the event is for people to have a good time and also donate to the Trevor Project, for both a good cause and to spread awareness. Another non-canon event was MCC Rising, which consisted of 40 new players, to give a boost and help the creators who stream with a low amount of viewers and give them a new audience. And finally, there's also All-Stars, which at the time consisted of players who have won an event, both canon or non-canon. There's also one event which was semi-canon, meaning stats won't count, but the win does. This event was known as Underdogs, or the opposite of All-Stars. Players who haven't won an event yet can play in this event. Most of these events include the non-Minecraft players, which I've been talking about because it's mostly for fun. It's used to celebrate something special, like the anniversary of MCC, where we see All-Stars and Underdogs, or for a good cause, like the Pride events. Now, with every event, there has to be some type of controversy, whether it be a flaw in some game or relation to the players. However, MCC has some interesting controversies, and also something which I'll be getting at called curses. First, let's talk about the most controversial game, Build Mode. You might think, for a building game, it might be good for a tournament, but when you think about it, most tournaments focus on movement and PvP, not building. This would lead to a couple of players disliking the idea of build mode. Mainly one player who has said in almost every MCC about their opinion. This would lead to a lot of fans giving their controversial takes on build mode. Most of these takes consist of changes to the game or completely removing the game. There was also another controversy related to a brand new way of announcing teams, having custom art for each player. However, it was found out that the artist did some horrible things in the past, which led to the return of usual team announcements. Finally, although not a controversy, but more of a curse. Still, it should be talked about because, well, MCC isn't perfect. It has flaws like any other thing. First of all, every MCC of multiple of 7 has something that would affect the tournament in some way. MCC 7 was the first site where there was an internet problem in a game which led to a restart and caused some players to complain about it. Then came MCC 14, which, well, was the biggest one. The major one was an ace race disaster, where not only the map was confusing, but a player, Scott's Major, tested the map once before, which led to a lot of players in frustration of an unfair win. Now, before I continue with everything else, I just wanted to say that you shouldn't go harassing anyone mentioned or anyone at all. Moving on, MCC 21 and 28 did have minor bugs, but it wasn't as bad as the others. But there was also MCC 24, which had another ace race disaster, where multiple players were disconnected in the middle of the race, which led to a restart the race once again. There are some other controversies, but I would say that these are the most notable ones. And to finish off this video, if you got interested in MCC or would like to know more about MCC, there are a couple of things that you can do. First of all, you can go to the MCC wiki. Not only was most of the info that I found was used from there, but there was also a variety of more in-depth of every MCC that has happened, giving the games that were played, the participants, and many more. The wiki can also give you old or new VODs in which you can watch and see how MCC has evolved, or you can try and find them as most old VODs are lost. If you want to, I'll be leaving a link in the description down below for the wiki, just so you can see, because most of my information is there and credit is where it's due. Aside from the wiki, you can also go to the MCC subreddit and the Discord, where you can chat with people, post fan art, statistics, and tier lists. And finally, MCC has recently released MCC Island. However, it is now on closed beta, which means you need a ticket to enter or buy your way in, but soon enough it might become an open beta. Hello, Editor Iron over here. I just want to say that recently the MCC Twitter has said that there will be an open beta pretty soon, and it would include other games like Ace Race and a brand new unreleased game which we haven't seen yet, mainly focusing on PvP. So as for now, I guess that's the brand new news. But anyway, let's continue on with the video. MCC Island has some of the MCC games, which you can play against the best players or maybe some of the contestants of MCC as well. And that's pretty much everything for MCC. With MCC being on a hiatus and coming back with Season 3, you can entertain yourself with everything said before. But aside from that, that's pretty much everything. MCC has been quite the ride for me, and every time it gets better and better. So I hope you enjoyed and learned something new, and have a good rest of your day.